Okay. I think we can start. Thank you. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm glad to welcome each and every one of us, and I hope we had an amazing time in church for those that are Christians, and then for the Muslims, I think your service was on Friday, right? I hope you had a good time as well. So how is our Sunday going? I think mine is going well, but then quite stressful. They kept us in church till 2 p.m. I don't know. They are yet to understand that for services that way, we should go on break. We cannot finish the whole service in a day, but then we stayed till like 2 p.m. So that was how my own day went, and this is where I am at the moment. So after now, we'll have World Cup to watch by 8 p.m. And I hope some of us here should watch as well. It's going to be an amazing night as we watch our GOAT carry our the second World Cup. And then last week we had an amazing time as well, where we looked at becoming the kind of educator that students will never forget. It was an amazing time last week. I think we had, I can't remember the number of persons in the session, but we had an amazing time where I shared just a brief story. And the story is on, I think I shared them this, the playbook. I don't know the number of persons that read that playbook, right? But it was just more like emphasizing on what we actually read from the playbook. And the playbook had a layout of how the classes will look like. The first week is has to do with the mindset. The second week, which is today, has to do with the skills. The third week has to do with the tools. The fourth week is the opportunity, and then the fifth week has to do with the impact. So this is how we laid out the entire fellowship. And if you observe something, you see that week one is building on, they are just following each other. So week two now builds on what we learned in week one. And then this week two is going to be, week three will build on week two, just that way. Week four will build from week three. So everything is connected. And I think it's important we follow through. Even if you miss the session, just feel free to always go to the channel on YouTube and then follow through. That's why we're recording the call as well, because we understand that not everyone will be available um, to join through, but then the recording will always be there. So thank you once again for joining. I'm glad to have each and every one of you. So this evening it should be more of an interactive session. So I shouldn't be talking and talking. I'm not a pastor. So I think we'll have educators in the house and we could actually discuss and rub minds together to achieve our goals. All right. So today, let's look at the skills. Having obtained the mindset, one of the key things. Can someone share with me maybe one or two things you, even if you actually just watch the recording, just one or two things you grabbed from the last session? You can type on the chat, so we'll pick it up from there. Just one or two, or even three that you want to share with us from last week. So let's just touch it a little bit before we dive into the session for today. Anybody? Just one or two or three. You can type on the chat. One or two or three. Maybe I should call names then. Should I? No, we are we are big people now. So anybody that wants to share, you can just type on the chat. Or is someone typing already? Be driven by purpose. I learned that the goal is excellence. Thank you so much, ma'am. Be driven by purpose, and excellence remains the goal at everything. And anything we do at all as educators, excellence is just at the forefront of whatever thing we do. And then it is purpose that will now link up with the excellence. Thank you so much, ma. Any other person? I think it's only my master that actually attended the session last week. How about those that watched the recording? Abi, we can't remember anything again. Any other person? Uh-uh. Don't wait to be ready. That we shouldn't wait for the perfect timing. God bless you. God bless you. You shouldn't wait for the perfect timing. Just like this fellowship, you can see we just started. It was something that just came to focus on impact first before the money. Very important. Very, this is beautiful. I think we learned a lot last week. Serve before you sell. Mr. Hila said we should serve before we sell. Beautiful. Yeah, I think these are some of the key things we learned that last week, right? I want to emphasize on what Ike said about don't wait for the perfect timing. The same thing that happened in this digital fellowship. We don't actually wait for the time we had everything. That video we shot was just by the side, and then we said, let's just start this. And the good thing about the whole thing is that when you start from where you are, you start building momentum from there. There will always be a first time. And that's it. Start before you sell, then impact before the money. Very important. All right. But money must be made. Give me a thumbs up to that. Money must be made at the end of the day, but then impact should be at the forefront of whatever thing we do. Because in the pursuit of purpose, money is made. That's one thing I realized. When you start pursuing your purpose, that is when the money will be made. All right. So in the pursuit of purpose, money is made. So thank you so much. I think we have an overview of what we learned last week. I think it's time for us to move forward. All right. So today, like I said, becoming the kind of educator that students can trust. Trust is something that you earn. I was listening to a man I love so much. That's Pastor Sam Ademi. He was saying something about that we have emotional bank accounts, right? When it comes to relationships. So when you do something for someone, you make them happy, you assist them, just the normal thing a friend would do for a friend, that you are depositing into their emotional bank account. And the moment you do something wrong to that person, you are withdrawing from that account. And the more you withdraw from this account, it gets to a point where the bank enters red alert. And that is when the relationship stop working. And that is when trust will be broken. So he now said something. Ensure you deposit more than you withdraw. So that thing stayed with me. So deposit more than you withdraw. So let's see how we can actually deposit into a student's emotional bank account. With that, we can build trust with them. Eventually, there are days you withdraw. It happens. We are all human beings. And I'm going to share with us a screenshot I received yesterday, a message I received yesterday, and I had to screenshot that particular message. I shared with Mr. Hillary as well. You know, we're going to analyze it together. But I think I withdrew from an emotional bank account. It wasn't intentional, basically. We're going to look at it shortly. But then today's lesson is all about how do we deposit into a student's emotional bank account, all right, to ensure that we can actually earn their trust and let them know that yes, your pilot is capable and that this plane cannot crash because you have an efficient pilot. So let's navigate through. Um, so let's see what we'll be learning today, more like an overview. All right. So we're looking at the 5 skills of an exceptional digital educator. What are those 5 skills? You can see it's more like a ladder. So we'll be climbing. I know I talk so fast, but please let me know if my speed is much. All right. That's more thing I run away from stammering. So, but I talk so fast. Let me know when the speed is too much. So we have the step 1, the step 2, step 3, and I believe you can see my cursor, step 4 and step 5. So these are the 5 steps or the 5 skills of an exceptional digital educator. So we'll be climbing those steps one after the other and see what each of them entails. Now, the first one, as you can see, has to do with interpersonal and emotional skills. The second one has to do with organizational and administrative skills. We'll have professional qualities. We'll have effective lesson delivery and assessment. And then the final step, which is where I might dwell so much, and I kept it for the last, so because of those that might join late, will not be, I can't see the screen. Beautiful. Another person that can't see the screen. I can't see the screen. Can you give me a thumbs up? Mr. Hillary, confirm you can see my screen with a thumbs up. Okay, you could see. Joy, can you see? Ike, how about you?
Yeah, it's clear. It's clear.
It's clear. Okay, Mama, can you try logging out and logging in again? Just log out and then join again. Yeah, great. Yeah, John Bosco, can you see my screen? Okay, I think we all can see. Okay, Mama, can you see now? Is it clear now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, beautiful. So I said we have these are the 5 skills of an exceptional digital educator, right? So it's more like a ladder. We'll be climbing that ladder one after the other. And the last ladder happens to be where we're going to spend a lot of time, all right? Designing learning for every learner. You're also going to find that useful if you are teaching in a school, whether in a school, online, offline, you're going to find it very, very useful. All right. So, and we're going to dwell so much in the fifth ladder. So let's look at the first one that happens to do with interpersonal and emotional skill. Well, before then, we're going to analyze something together and you will tell me what you think happened right there. Okay. So I said something here that good intentions are not enough. You can have a very good intention, but it's not enough. And that's exactly what played out here. So if you look at this, you're going to see what I wrote there. I said, this message came to me from a parent, right? It was, you can see very well, right? Or should I zoom in? Confirm you can see very well. You can read the whole thing is clear. Anybody, just give me a thumbs up. Clear and you can see. Okay, beautiful. So this message came from a parent. It was difficult to receive, but then it reminded me that for you to actually be what? top notch in your game, it is not measured by what we intend to do. All right. It is measured by what your students and the family consistently experience, not by what you intend to do, but the kind of experience that you create for them. So now we're going to read through the message. It came in yesterday morning. Funny enough, it came in when I was so exhausted from work. I think around 11 a.m. I just say, let me close my eyes a little bit. And then immediately I woke up, checked my phone. That was the very first message I saw. And it wasn't a nice one. All right. So let's just read through together. Um, my name was, I had to cover something. He said, this was Morning Luther. You can see the message now. The last the last lesson was a week ago, and I am now having to chase you for homework so she can properly grasp the topic you taught. She struggled during the lesson, and I had to step in myself. This should not be happening, and it will be reflected in the review. Like, read through. This is how many paragraphs now. So it was a detailed one. Now, since you started teaching her, your professionalism has been consistently below expectations. I have repeatedly questioned your commitment to her learning. I understand you have other students, but should not mean my daughter becomes a low priority. Instead, it shows a lack of organization, especially considering the number of excuses I've received from you. You mentioned that your new website would make things easier and more efficient, and that it would bring consistency. None of these promises are reflected in your work. When you do, when you do provide assignments, they are often too long and unreasonable. You also do not provide markings or feedback. I'm having to ask, this is messed up. I'm having to, what is the last thing now? Okay, I'm having to ask my daughter directly for feedback. I'm here now. Look at my cursor. Which defeats the purpose of having a tutor. The dashboard was meant to help me oversee her progress, but it has proven absolutely pointless. In contrast, her English teacher provides weekly assignments, clear feedback, and shows genuine care and commitment. I can see her progress clearly. That is the level of professionalism I expect. I also need to mention that your camera is always off during lessons. This is consigning. It is basically courtesy to show your face when teaching a child, and it helps her stay engaged. Your camera being off makes me question your dedication to her time and mine. Please fix these issues immediately. All right. So you could see what the message looks like. And I just screenshotted as I didn't change anything. That's exactly how it came in yesterday. All right. So if you read through with me, can you give me a thumbs up? All right. Thank you. Everybody, thumbs up. Yeah. Beautiful. Now, how do you feel? Imagine you are the tutor. How will you feel? Let me just ask a simple question. You can type on the chat. Imagine you wake up to this kind of thing now. How will you feel as a person? Just asking. All right. So I woke up to this, right? And what she said is basically true. And why am I sharing this with you? So that you don't think that we've not made mistakes. This one happened yesterday. And I'm also trying to point out to some things to you that no matter how busy you get, let's say eventually you start teaching online, or eventually you start handling students, or you're already handling students, no matter how busy you get, do not trade a child's experience, the kind of experience you create for them, for anything. Don't rob Peter to pay Paul. I understand that I've been very, very busy doing a lot of things actually. All right. And that's why I said from the beginning that good intention is not enough. All right. I had promised her a lot of things I needed to do. And funny enough, we meet just once a week. I meet with the child once a week. All right. Just once in a week. Now, and these are things I know I should be doing. And I ended up not doing them. These are my principles that I broke at the end of the day. Because of what? Not that I did that carelessly, but because of the engagement, the boot camp, the this. So a lot of engagement, and eventually I failed to upload that particular assignment to her. I failed to follow up as I should. All right. So now, for the camera she mentioned, because of network, sometimes it's as though the camera, like how network could be, just it. And sometimes intentionally I turn it off because I might be so exhausted, and then you can be, maybe I have put my clothes and I'm teaching. This is not something good to say, but I'm just trying to paint a picture for you that it's going to get to a point where you might be exhausted, you might be tired, you might have a lot of things on your deck, but please never trade a child's experience for how busy you are. I felt bad because this is not a reflection of who I am. It's not a reflection of the skills we've built over the years. It's not other. I've not received this kind of feedback before. All right. But because something I didn't pay attention to some things we usually pay attention to, and it happened this way. And why am I sharing this with you? So you could see what on a normal day, what the expectation of a parent looks like. I don't know if you're following me. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're following? So you could see what the expectation of a parents look like on a normal day. All right. Now I responded to what she said, and trust me, I was just like, what I responded, I appreciated her honesty, the fact that she shared with me. And then I said I will take actions and the rest of them. Apologize for everything that happened. Because for someone to complain this way simply means that, oh, I still value you. I don't know if you're getting my point. Someone can just look at those and be like, I'm done with this guy, I'm done with these Sismo guys, But then for her to tender this kind of comment means that, oh, I know you are good in what you do. I'm not questioning how good you are. But then I'm beginning to question, like what she said, an organizational problem, ability to put yourself together and the rest of them. All right. And I think she knows I'm quite busy, but then it shouldn't affect a child's experience because the class does not end immediately after teaching. Another mindset I need to have now. Let's say you are giving a student online to teach. The class doesn't end immediately after the 1 hour you taught the child. You still have another work to do, which is the follow up. And that is where I failed. And I knew I failed because that's not how we do it over the years. But eventually, because things got busy and the rest of them, but then that is still not an excuse. So I'm painting this example so you can see what a parent is expecting from anybody that they entrust their child to. All right. So I made a little summary here and I'm going to go through it shortly. Yeah, it's fun. I'm using myself as a case study, right? And it's good he entered yesterday. If not, I wouldn't have this kind of example to give. Don't mind me. All right, he entered yesterday morning, and then I thought this is a good example so that you could see what a parent is expecting. So I highlighted some things. What the parent experienced. All right. Now, homework was delayed after the lesson. The learner struggled without enough follow up. All right. The parents had to ask for information. Are you seeing it now? The assignments, are you there? The assignments we are sometimes too long for it. There's something she said that even when I give the assignment is pointless. What happens? When I realize that, oh, bro, you never send the assignment to, I will just, that kind of thing, prepare sharp, sharp, without actually paying attention to the kind of assignment I'm giving. So the assignments we are not consistently marked. Sometimes I mark it and I'll be drafting the mail. Funny enough, there's one I drafted the mail. I was about sending the mail, something else came up, and eventually I forgot. Now, assignments were not consistently marked, and the feedback was missing after the work was submitted. It's a two-way process. You call somebody on the phone, the person responds. You don't just call and then you keep talking. I don't know if you've done that before. You just call somebody, hello, you started talking without waiting to affirm to know whether the other person is hearing what you are saying. Just like what I normally do here now. Can you hear me? And the rest of them give me a thumbs up. That is feedback. So this is what failed in that particular experience. Remember something. The woman was not saying that this guy, Sabi teach, you don't know what you're doing. Just look at where her complaints were coming from. All right. And I want you to pay key attention to that. Then I said here again, look at it. Now, what the parent experienced was visibility and presence. The progress was not visible to the parents. Are you seeing it now? The learning dashboard was not updated efficiently. For example, in Sismo, we have our dashboard. After teaching, you're expected to upload the assignment to the child. You're expected to mark it. We're expected to send a feedback. So eventually, let's say you start working with us tomorrow, for example, now. So after the classes, you're expected to upload those videos and the recordings and the rest of them so that the parents will look at the child's progress. Now, the camera presence during the lessons was poor as well. And then look at what the teacher questioned: the trust and the organization of the tutor. She questioned the tutor's organization. She questioned my commitment. Then the small gaps that did what? That was what was withdrawing from the emotional bank account. I see now. I withdrew so much from that bank account, and that's why she sounded the way she sounded. All right. So small gaps repeated until the trust was broken down. And now, do you know that no matter what I tell that woman, I say, "Oh, I will do this," she'll be like, "Okay, I just want to see it happen." All right. So what am I saying? A teacher may care deeply and still create a poor learning experience through a very weak system. I actually no, I'm not a careless person basically, and whatever thing I'm be doing all this while I was trying to fix some things and I let some things slide by the side. So I'm just trying to paint a picture that tomorrow you might get so busy. Not maybe not with normal teaching, but maybe you have other things, as maybe you have work at home to do, you have some things to do, and the rest of them, and you feel not following up. You've actually broken the trust, and you've hampered the kind of experience the parent is expected to what experience. So now I'm just trying to point to you that when it comes to digital education now, you are not just working with the students, you are working with the parents. Now, for the child might like me as a tutor, probably because of the way I teach, the way I explain things, the way I joke, and the way I laugh as always. But now, the parent is now questioning my experience and my organization as a person. So it's a two-way process. The student has to trust you, and the parent will as well see that this guy or this lady is committed to my child's growth. So it's a two-way process. And I think these are actually highlighted the key things I want us to see from that particular example. And now with that, we can now start looking at the things we could actually start fixing. For me, I know what to do already. And that's why that woman was sounding that way, because she knows this guy's ability. But because I need to call this guy to order, and that's why she said whatever thing that she said. Now, someone might just get angry and be like, "Oh, this woman is saying a lot. Is it not just one session? I mean, just one class in a week? What can one class in a week do for me?" Now, but why I responded the way I did is because that woman represents like 100 other customers, or yeah, 100 other parents. That particular woman, she has 100 parents tied to her waist. I don't know if you get my point. If you get my point, give me a thumbs up. If you understand what I'm saying, just give me a thumbs up. She has like 100 other parents tied to her waist. I could decide to say, "Oh, I'm just meeting your daughter once a week. So why am I stressed? You are stressing me too much, following the kind of workload I have now." But then you have to earn somebody's trust. Are we together now? So these are the key things we have to pay attention, and then look at the kind of skills we need to build. Are we together? Are you still following? And I think I downloaded the wrong slide. Give me 2 minutes. Yeah, I think I did. Just 2 minutes. Um, just 2 minutes. Something is missing. Yeah, something is missing. Uh, so sorry for the delay. I need to check out something. I think something is missing. Something is missing. Um, okay. So let's proceed. So the next slide. Look at it now. So what do you think are the skills? Because we did it in a way that anybody can handle the sessions after now, right? In our next fellowship, I might not be the one teaching, all right? And that person might be the one taking. It might even be you that is listening now. Will not be the person handling the next cohort of our fellowship. All right. So what are the skills that you think we are missing in this situation? What are the skills missing? All right. And what should have, I know we know the answers already. So what should have happened immediately after the lesson? Or what could that assignments, okay, how could the assignment have been better designed? And what should the parents have been to see without asking? So all of these things, what are the Sismo values that were affected? So what system could prevent this from happening again? So can someone just maybe pick any of the questions and answer? So what are those values you think I toyed with at that point? Maybe one of the Sismo values you think I played with. One of our values I played with for that particular woman. Anybody? Anybody from what you studied last week, can you pinpoint one of the values you highlighted last week that I failed to apply when it comes to that particular woman, or what happened with the parents? Anybody? Nobody wants to say anything. Commitment. Okay. Yeah. Commitment. Very important. All right. That commitment, I was broken. All right. I didn't follow through with whatever thing. And aside the commitment, integrity was toyed with. Right. I wasn't being honest again, because you didn't do what you ought to do. You promised and you didn't keep your word. One of the values says our word is our bound. All right. What we say, we'll keep to whatever thing we say. But I failed that woman by not keeping to what I told her. I'll be doing this and that. All right. And you could see that happen and play out. Now, that said, there's something key here. that subject knowledge cannot rescue poor organization. It cannot. The woman believes my ability, but look at what happened. So weak communication, missing feedback, or inconsistent follow-up, right? All of these things will be a problem. It cannot rescue, subject knowledge cannot rescue all of these things. If your communication is weak, your feedback is missing, you don't follow up the way you should, your subject knowledge cannot rescue it. All right. I think the major, I don't know why that woman still find time to write all of those things. I still believe that I'll be able to fix them, basically. But then, no matter how brilliant, no matter how good you think you are, if some of these things are missing, okay. Let me also say this. That's why they say no matter how it's in both ways. No matter how beautiful a woman is, when the character is not good, nobody sees the beauty again. And no matter how fine or no matter how rich a man is, without the character, it becomes a problem. And that's the same thing here. So no matter how brilliant or on the rest of them, without some of these key variables, nobody cares, and you can't actually um, repair some of those things. So I said something here that professionalism is the experience people repeatedly have with you. It has to do with an experience. For that woman, she had a terrible experience with me. All right. So for every student that you encounter, every parent you encounter, you have to be very keen at the kind of thing they experience with you. All right. Because that is what, when they say you have to be professional, you have to be professional. It boils down to the kind of experience that people have with you on daily basis, repeatedly. What kind of experience do people have with you as a what do you guys call it again? As a tutor, educator, and whatever thing, whatever name we choose to call it recently. All right. So this is where our 5 skills will now begin. So let's dive in bit by bit and look at those key skills that we should have as educators. And it's also important to note that for that particular feedback, it's also important that one of the skills you need to have is the ability to receive that kind of feedback. You don't get angry when people say that kind of thing. It might get you angry at first, but then think about it. Think about it. All right. If you're still with me, give me a thumbs up. A thumbs if you're still with me. All right, great. Okay, thank you. Okay. You put if nobody wants to ask me question how I felt yesterday when I got that message. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's climb the ladder now. The first is interpersonal, and well, one of the part that got me is that part you said that the thing is pointless. Okay, so let's look at interpersonal and emotional skills. That's the very first skill. All right, so let's look at what we have when it has to do with interpersonal and emotional skills. Okay. Um, so the first I have here is empathy, right? I don't know how you guys pronounce it, so permit me to pronounce it where I should. Maybe the phonetics guys and will now pronounce better. All right. So now there's one key thing I want us to see here. It is simply the ability, all right, to understand a student's feeling or even a parent's feeling. I understood that woman was disappointed, and any parents can be disappointed as well. So the ability to understand a student's feeling, the challenges, the needs, and the circumstances without immediately judging them. I don't know what happened yesterday that she sent that message. Something must have triggered it at home. So we have to understand what is the why behind this particular thing. The other day in class, a child, that boy is he's I think around 8 years old. He's in year four. He's in year four. So sorry, year five. I was teaching and I wish I can play the recording. If you see the way this boy was shouting at me, like you need to see how that boy was shouting at me. So at some point, I I nearly got angry. Then I paused. I asked him, "Is that how you talk to your teachers in school?" He said, "I don't know." I'm talking about this child is in year five. All right. And he said, "I don't know." Then I asked another question. That boy shouted at me again. I paused. Then I asked him, "What is the problem? What is happening?" He said, "I don't know, sir." You know how some of these kids can be, especially some of those guys that are raised over there. You can, if you can relate what I'm saying, just give me a thumbs up. If you can relate to what I'm saying, just give me a thumbs up. Some of those kids, exactly, that are raised over there. So I kept calm. And then I asked, "What is the problem?" Then you explain the particular topic I was doing that day. We've done that before, and the guy answered everything. So that day he was just making mistakes. I said, "What is this?" I explained, I said, "Sir, I don't understand what you are doing." In a very harsh tone, as if the guy was sounding as if he was my dad. I'm not trying to paint anything here. I wish I can play the record. The young man was shouting at me as if now my papa him be, So and I asked him, what could the problem be? You've not sounded like this before. What am I trying to say? Ask about the learner's well-being. All right. Now, I gave a scenario here. A child who usually participates before becomes unusually quiet and performs poorly, or someone that hasn't sounded that way before, all of a sudden begins to talk that way and the rest of them. I started asking that guy, what happened? Because I was already getting frustrated at some point. I will explain and explain. And I know I still have other class to teach. Okay, you cannot exhaust the little energy I will use for that class. So I paused and I asked him, I'm constrained from not calling his name. I said, bro, I've taught you some of these things. You've done this thing before and you cleared everything. What is happening today? I think the normal you left it somewhere. And then I started asking what the problem is. He then told me that they wrote a test in school today and then he performed very bad. And those topics he was asking me to do with him that evening, that he has another test tomorrow. I said, oh, is that why you are sounding this way? Why not calm down? Your brain function better when you are happy. And I told him, is it not ratio? I think it was ratio, which other one again? Things around decimals and the rest of that. I said, you're a smart guy, you know all of these things. For tomorrow's test, just calm down. We can work these things out together. That's how we started. And the whole class became interesting again. So what am I saying? First of all, understand what the reason is. Understand one of the skills we need to have. What is the reason behind this person's behavior? So before correcting that behavior, imagine if I started shouting, "This boy, you don't have this boy, you don't get respect," and the rest of them. So imagine if I started shouting at him, that would have spoiled a lot of things, you get. But then asking that young boy, "What's the problem? Why are you sounding this way?" And then asking him, "Is that how you talk to your teachers in school?" And then he said, "I don't know, sir," and the rest of them. At the end of the day, he was excited. He learned whatever thing he ought to learn, and the class ended. Sometimes you can see a child that, or a student, or any, whether a child, whether an adult that is usually doing well, and all of a sudden the person is misbehaving. Let's try to know the why behind the action. When you get to understand the why, you will now be able to start correcting. All right. And one key thing I think we should always have to know is that for every action, there is a why. Nobody does anything without a why. So before you judge anybody, get to know the why behind that action. Only then can you go ahead and make conclusions. So these are things you have to know. So before correcting that behavior in the class, maybe one-on-one sections, in a group class, on the rest of them, please understand what may be causing it. So you can actually address the problem. Once you address the problem, you've addressed that particular person or the student or the child. So that's one of the key skills that has to do with empathy. All right. I gave some key points here. You can read that out. So save our time. We can just go to the next slide. Now, the next one is communication. All right. So communication, we know what it is. All right. Explain very well. You listen carefully. You give instructions that are useful, and then ask purposeful questions and confirm understanding at every point in time. Are you following? Are you with me? These are questions you keep asking to ensure that everybody's on the same page. All right. Then, in terms of teaching, let me just talk a little bit. And then, in terms of communicating with parents, sometime in 2024, I had a parent that referred someone. This is someone I've taught offline before. So, she now said, "Oh, she has a sibling. They want someone that will help them." I said, "How old is this child?" They said they are between the ages of 5. The other one is 4 years. The other guy is 6 years. Men and brethren, because he was a referrer, I don't know what to do. I said, "Well, let me give it a try." A child within the age of 4 to 6 years. I started acting any kind of drama I know how to act in this life, just to teach the boy. Then I now said something. I called the boy's name. I said, "Subtract this from this." The guy was just looking at me. I said, "I mean subtract." I said, "Subtract." The guy was looking at me. I said, "You should subtract." I said, "What's wrong with this boy?" I said, "Subtract." He now said, "Oh, sir, do you mean take away?" I'm talking about language. "Sir, do you mean take away?" I was teaching more advanced people. I never knew that that's how they call it, take away. All right. So take away for me, take away in a normal, now that way now. I like food. So when I hear take away, I know what one comes to my mind. So, but the young man, to him, the take away is to what? To remove a number. So that happens to do with what? Using those languages that your students will understand. You can't be using language that will get them confused. That's has to do with the communication. For an adult, you know the kind of things you can tell an adult and the rest of them. Then when it comes to parents, you don't have to wait till things will go wrong before you start communicating. Just like the case I shared with us, the case study we looked at. It is important to tell them, let them know on time. All right. Someone is laughing. Let them know on time. All right. Send your messages. Let the message be clear and professional. All right. So don't send messages that will cause parents to be confused or anybody you're working with. Let's say you're working with a touring company. If there's a reason you want to miss your class or the rest of them, let them know ahead of time. All right. So communication is not complete because you spoke. It is complete when understanding what happened. All right. That is what communication is about. You can be saying something else and you're understanding something else. Okay. That's a particular skill I think we need to make reference to. And from my end, you can understand that that's exactly what happened from my own end. That particular thing, I should give me a thumbs up if that's true. What happened from my own end was communication. Do you know if I told that woman, please, ma, I'm very busy now. Permit me to get back to you on the child assignment so and so time. If I had done that, do you think I would receive that kind of message? Men and brother in the house. If I had done this, I said now, by just telling her, please, ma, I have a lot on the table now, but I'm going to do so and so. Just 3 lines of message, those 3 lines would have saved me a lot. Are you still with me? Give me a thumbs up. Am I just preaching? I'm just talking to myself. All right, good. That would have saved me that particular thing that happened with that very message. So communication is not complete unless the other end understands what you are saying. So active listening. So sometimes we listen to reply and not listening to understand. Are you seeing it now? So I think it's a problem. So that's why sometimes look at what I wrote here now. Listen to parents without being defensive. I didn't defend myself. The case of the camera, I knew my camera was on that particular day, but the atmosphere is not right for me to defend myself in whatever reason. So what I did, even is the main, I will even accept the one I didn't do, so that peace will reign. So at that point, just listen to them without becoming defensive. Whether you are trying to work with an organization or you want to sign up in a particular platform for tutoring, anytime there's a correction or a feedback, don't defend anything. Accept it and then make corrections. Besides, you created room for it. Even if they add the one that you didn't do, it's because you created the room for that. So anything that comes from it, just be carry it. You know, for let me. I don't know the kind of examples that are coming to my head. You know, so growing up now, they might. I eat bread a lot actually. So let's say they will just keep the bread now, and eventually you go there. Actually, the portion you took was very small, and then someone else came and you know that kind of thing. Eventually, they now ask who went there. You said it's you. Nobody knew whether the portion you took was small or whether what you took. What they know is that now you go there. So that's why the whole thing has reduced. So the whole blame will still be on you because you created that particular space from the very beginning. So whatever thing it is, whether they start putting more on it, just know that it cost it because you created the space for that to happen. All right. So don't be defensive. Rather, take notes and then take actions where necessary and begin to review the kind of challenges you'll be facing as you enter into the entire space and as time goes on. All right. So what to avoid, listening only to prepare a response. You have something to say in mind already. And I think that's some of the mistakes we make sometimes. And that's why, especially on social media, see that someone is not reading to understand a particular post. The person has something already in mind that he wants to comment. And then and that's why Nigeria is sorry, let me not go there. Because I like to understand better. So the next one is emotional intelligence. Now, is the ability to recognize and manage your own emotions while responding wisely to whether it's a parent, a colleague you're working with, and the rest of them. So manage your own emotions. And that's why sometimes that message entered, I didn't respond to it immediately. So, because if I respond immediately, I will make mistakes. Because at that point in time, emotion has entered. So, the kind of decision I'm going to make will not make sense. And I had to just relax and then responded to that message when I felt I thought very well, because anything you say cannot be retrieved. Oh, sorry, it was a mistake. I didn't mean to say that. Okay, you've said it. It has been released already. All right. So, and that's why when in class, no matter how the students will sound, especially with some of these kids, I don't think the children we're having now and back then are not the same. Back then, the way we fear our teachers is not the same today. A child can look at you, it doesn't give a damn about you. So, and that's why you have to learn how to manage your emotions as an adult that you are. Whether you are taking an adult and the rest of them are parents. So please just learn how to manage them and then respond wisely. And I also add this as well. If you are teaching a class per se, and you notice a child is tired already, please, even if the class is 1 hour and you are paid per hour, yes, sometimes you can receive the payment per hour, but you know that this child is exhausted. Wisdom demands that, and that's emotional intelligence. You can tell the child, oh, you are very tired. Don't worry, we can end the session here. You know that your money is at stake. But then you don't, the class can never finish at the time being. You can still have another section to make up with that particular class. But that tells the child that, oh, this teacher loves me. This child is reasonable to know that, oh, I'm exhausted. Parents sometimes might not even see that. That is where it comes in. Or whether you are just, it's some of those key skills that you have to look at. When is a child tired? Or a child is learning something and you are forcing for Oga, even if it's you. That's the way I normally think actually. When I'm in class, I'm looking at that child, I'm seeing the child from the lens of my childhood. Don't always forget that you were once a student, and check your own behavior. Check your own behavior as a student back in the days, and then that will help you begin to adjust. You know, So when it comes to some of these things, I think this is a powerful skill that we should uphold so much. Then control your facial expression and tone. I think I said this last time. When I see that I'm getting so tired, like I'm teaching and it's not entering your head, the first thing I will do, I will be like, I will just control E. I'll off my camera and then I will express and they are not seeing my face. But then you don't have to show the child that almost you in a blockhead. That's emotional intelligence. And the tone, if I'm sounding angry now, you will know from the voice. These are things you also avoid so that the child doesn't know that, or the student was safer. Don't transfer any personal frustration. Maybe something happened, you brought it to class. In the class, it is none of the child's business or the parent's business or whoever person you are teaching. It is none of their business. That's why back in the days when you go to bank, you see people frowning their face. Madam, I'm here employee you. If you don't want to do the work, go home. So don't bring your family problem to your work or whatever thing your challenge you are facing. Then you are bringing it to the class. The child is that's not their business. You are being paid for whatever thing you are asked to do. So that's where the emotional intelligence comes into place, and ability to even smile when deep down you're going through a lot. So for that particular class, for 1 hour you are smiling, you are laughing. After then you can now go home and face your problem. So we wrote something here that the learner may forget the mistake, but may remember how the correction made them feel. All right. They might forget what they did, but then the way you said it and the way you corrected them, they can never forget. A very powerful skill when it comes to dealing with what students. All right. Then I think I spoke about relationship the last time. Very, very important. So engage with them very well. Let them feel seen, safe, and valued. Feel free. Sometimes you see, you laugh, you joke. Let them feel free. With that, it makes learning quite interesting. So these are some of the interpersonal and emotional skills you should have, and that is how you keep your class engaging. You are not dealing with how will I put it, with a robot. The way you will communicate with the person, good. One question always ask yourself, assuming I'm with this child physically, how will I relate with the child? That's the same with online classes, and that's where I see it. All right. So see that as a friend you're having a call with. That's how I normally see those students. It's more like I'm talking to my friend, and that's the same thing I point to them. You're not coming for class. You're coming to gist with a friend. Tell me what happened in school. I tell you what is going on with me, the challenges I'm facing, and the rest of them. We'll laugh and we'll play, and then we'll still learn. That is the relationship I'm talking about. And that way, they feel safe with you. All right. They value you. They see that you value them as well. And it become a two-way thing. Sometimes for me, I call them my bro. You see a child of 15 years, I'll be like, my bro. That's what I call them. But these are my students. But then because at that particular age, especially teenagers, they want to feel among. Sometimes stop knuckle with the little child. They're excited. Oh, I'm talking chopping knuckle with this my teacher. Give me high five. So these are some of those things that it builds that rapport with them. So for me, I like chopping knuckle and I like, bro, what's up? That kind of feeling, it makes them feel among, because and why I started doing that, back then as a child. So imagine that brother you respect so much, and the brother will just come and say, "Give me high five," chop. There's this happiness you normally have when someone you respect gives you that, even as adults we are now. There's a particular, maybe someone you respect so much in maybe your church, in your environment, and the person brings themselves very low to listen to you. There's this joy and excitement. That's the same thing that those students feel as well when you get to there with them, but there should be boundary as well. If I'm teaching a girl, I cannot be calling the girl my this the child my girl. I hope you're getting my point now, right? So it's you cannot be teaching a girl and then you're calling her my no, or you have a girl, my baby. You are causing problem because children of these days they are already exposed. Before you know it, you've entered trouble. And if parents hear that kind of thing, and when you are a guy, and the rest of it becomes a problem. So it's about if you have a girl as your student, there are better ways to do that. You can look for nicknames. For me, I'm very good at that. You can just there are those I call the president, and when you call that, they're excited. The president. You just give them some of those powerful names that will actually tell them, yeah, there's so much more they can do. I can even call your name and put on the most high. You know, I can say the end of that series. Some of those amazing things you can add to a child's name, and then they are very excited that yes, this one loves me and it values me as well. You know, so that's for that anyway. So that's for interpersonal and emotional skills. If you're still with me, can you give me a thumbs up, please? If you're still with me, a thumbs up, right? I hope we are following. Yeah, I hope we are following. Please, let's just keep going. Now, the next one has to do with your organizational and administrative skills. Is a very powerful one. And that was the place I had issue yesterday. All right. Not because we weren't good with that, but because something happened. Even Mr. Hillary said yesterday that person don't turn robot for this industry. You work and work and work, and you are trying to catch up with a lot of things. So it happens even in school, or maybe when you start teaching online, maybe you are still teaching in a school setting. So imagine coming from school, then you are entering your online class. So it becomes a problem when you can't merge both of them. You cannot rob Peter to pay Paul. Are you seeing it now? So it's very, very important to always strike a balance. So let's look at that particular skill when it comes to the organizational and administrative skills. All right. So something happened sometime last year. So a child, I joined the class and I started looking for the slide. Like, I don't know what happened that day. Like, I had a lot of sessions, I was started looking for the guy's slide. The boy said something. Uncle, I thought you were organized. So that thing threw me off balance. So the way I was looking for the slide, the guy said, Uncle, I thought you organized. So the young man felt that this guy is organized. So how come you are looking for? It was something very simple. Why would this boy say this kind of thing? I'm just looking for slide doesn't mean I thought you organized. So these are some things that they know when you are not. Those children, they know. They might not even tell you, but they know. Just that one talks a lot, and that's a good one. So the first thing you need to know is about the lesson and the topic tracking. All right. So a professional educator should always be answered to be able to answer what was taught, what was understood, and what comes next. All right. So I worked with somebody last month, and I was like, bro, can I have a list of Mr. Hillary is my witness? Can I have a list of the topics you've taught? The young man said he cannot remember. Like, I don't know if you're getting my point. You taught these kids for like 1 month, and I asked you, what are the topics you taught them? He said he cannot remember. So does it mean that you just enter the class, enter autopilot mode, and then you start talking? And the next day you come, you can't remember the topics you taught the child. So it is expected that you should have a place. For me, I have a book. Just like yesterday, I asked Mr. Hila, there are some videos he uploaded on the channel and need to pick up. I was giving him the dates that was missing. If I didn't keep track of those things, there's no way I will tell him the exact dates that was missing because I have a book where I write down the topic, the number of hours. That's in a week. I know the number of hours I spoke, like the number of hours I taught. I talk for a living at the moment. So I know the number of hours I actually taught for the week. So in a month, I know how many hours I taught in a month, and I see the kind of energy that is leaving my body. It's not easy. Then sometimes my dad will, there's some in Igbo language, we will call it eku, So it means talkative, that's you are talking almost every day. All right. Teaching is not easy. Thumbs up to all teachers in the house, please. Can you have that love emoji, please? All the teachers in the house. I celebrate every teacher in the house. It's a very difficult work to some extent. So I celebrate each and every one of you. You talk and talk and talk and talk that you start seeing, I don't know what you guys call those, you start seeing the veins running through your head that you are talking. God have mercy upon us. All right. So keep the topic, keep the dates. What was the objective? Is there any test you gave to the child? Take note of that. You know, which assignment was that, and what are you going to teach the child next? Maybe they struggled with this during the lesson. For that girl's own, I didn't record those things. That's what I'm trying to say. I couldn't record some of those things. All I knew is that I taught them. It got to a point where for 2 good weeks I wasn't taking record of these things I'm saying now. For 2 good weeks, the time, the date, I couldn't, because my God. But then it's not an excuse, basically. So ensure that you have a place where you write down the topics that you taught the child, the performance, and the whole of them. I think the other day I was telling Mr. Hilary, I forgot there was an assessment the students wrote. I couldn't find the exact point I wrote the mark. You get. So, but they should always, at every point in time, make it a responsibility that the class doesn't end unless you've actually recorded some of those things. Be accountable. These are some of the things that you can actually keep the record of. That even if the company you're working with now be like, oh, you taught for 3 hours today. You said no. Go and check so and so. You even give them the date and the time because you're keeping record from your own end. So have a book where you write down some of these things. It's going to help as you continue your journey. Whether you are teaching mathematics, you are teaching digital skills, whatever thing you are teaching, it's important to have your record book where you track the lesson and the number of hours you've taught and what you taught the child and what you'll be doing next. All right. It's part of the process that helps you understand. So never begin a lesson by asking the learner, where did we stop? Do you know what it means? Well, of recent, I've found myself in that situation. And it's good that I'm sharing some of these things. All right. There's a class I entered last week, and for like 5 minutes, I was just discussing with the child. What I was doing, I was trying to scan my head. Okay. What was last time? I was trying to scan my head. Then eventually, the children are funny. Some of the students they will not remember. Oh. Imagine you're meeting a child once a week. That child will not remember where you stopped. Unless people that are some of them they are very good, but a good number of them will not remember. So you might now use the next 15 minutes to start looking for what you taught them the last time. But if those things are recorded, you start the session just like what I did today. When I started, I highlighted the last thing we did. People shared what they learned, showing that I'm keeping track of whatever thing I taught last week. And that way, you're not asking where did we stop. No. Now you stop motor, now you know where you stop the vehicle, not the passenger. The passenger should know as well. But then sometimes I might be traveling without knowing the locations I'm going to. So when you stop, now driver knows say now here we they go. You understand? So please, this is what this thing does for you. Keeping track of all of these things. That is exactly what it does for you. So very important. And record that. Now the next thing is what your students' progress monitoring. In our own dashboard, we have a place where for everything you do is reflecting the assignments, the test, and everything is reflecting. And that's when the woman said that it was absolutely pointless because I was not posting anything on that dashboard for the woman to see. All right. So, but then if, for example, you're working with someone, or maybe someone reaches out to you for you to teach their child, have a place where you are highlighting that in the past test, this guy got 40%. In the next test, he got 45%. Let that be that progress. You're showing them, yeah, this is the report I'm giving for this child. All right. So, what are the things you're going to track? You can track the accuracy, the confidence, the speed, the application of the knowledge, the mistakes that keep happening, and the rest of them. These are some of the things you could actually track to let the parents know, or even the child to know that you are taking record. And do you know one thing? I think there's something we normally forget, right? Because maybe we are now adults. If you tell a child, oh, this will reflect in your report, it's going to reflect in your report. You see that they will start working very hard because they know that the parents will get to see some of those reports. Are we on the same page now? All right. So it's very important that you should be able to monitor the progress of your child, not your child. Yeah, it's your child or your student, basically. All right. And it's very, very important. If you are still with me, can you give me a thumbs up? Can you give me a thumbs up? All right. Okay. Is it a question you have? Okay. Someone raised. I can see the symbol of raising hand. Okay, okay, that's fine. All right. Then the assignment now. This connects directly to our opening case study. All right. A useful assignment to be what? Purposeful and age appropriate. For me, I wasn't sincerely speaking, right? I wasn't considering whether even the assignment I gave, whether it covered what I taught in class. I just needed to send something. I just wanted to send assignments, so that I can get, and that was unusual. So please ensure that even it's important that as you are drafting what you're going to teach the child, draft the assignment alongside with the topic you're teaching. So it becomes very easy. So what I'm trying to say is that this work is not an easy work. I'll have to be sincere with us. It is not the work you do and then you just go that way, especially if you want to maintain a very high standard. Others might just do anyhow, but then there's a lot of work in it. You have to report and report and report and ensure that things are going well. Give an assignment, let it be very good. For some of us that will eventually work with Sismo, you have your dashboard where you upload the assignments, and it's expected that for some of those assignments, you don't just upload any kind of assignment. And I'm saying this because you are going to get busy as time goes on. But please let it be a priority that some of these things are set right, you know. And for me, for that particular woman, what I want to do now is that I have them on Wednesdays. I want to arrange all the slide I'll be using for the classes for the next 1 month for her. It's not something that is in 3 hours I could do that. So I'm going to dedicate like 3 hours to set everything and then keep it by the side. So that no matter how busy I get along the line, I will always remember that I have one. That I think because it's just one session in a week, that's why it looks that way. But then even if it's 30 minutes a week, ensure you are faithful with that 30 minutes. Be faithful with that 30 minutes. No matter how you think you've grown, you have a lot of students, even if it's 30 minutes, it's important that you ensure that your questions are very, very accurate. Don't send assignments for the name of sending assignments. All of those things be arranged. I'm trying to rush very well. Then your time management, right? So for time management, you welcome them, ask how they are doing in school. Don't just enter class and rush to teaching. If now you go there happy, no, start by asking them how was school today, how are you doing? Teach them a little bit. Some of them that tell a lot of stories will start telling you this one happened in school. Just be answering them as if you know what happened in the school. Even when the joke they are cracking is not funny, just laugh for them. There's this feeling, so you just follow through, just be present with them, and that's how you can connect in terms of welcoming them, and then the well-being check. Then you can review what you guys learned in the last class. From there you can tell them what you guys are learning today. You explain them. You have some examples. After you must have solved like 3 to 5 examples, you give them the one they are going to solve. Check whatever thing they've done already or whatever thing you taught them already. Then give them feedback. Oh, these are the areas you're not getting well. Then you give them assignments, but ensure you explain the assignments, and then let them know that in the next lesson you'll be learning so and so thing, just like we do here. I will always tell you, okay, now next session we're learning this and that. So that way, there is a flow. All right. So do not let slide disorder control the lesson. Protect the final 10 minutes, because do you know that whatever thing I say here today, if I don't conclude very well, everything is scattered, because you remember the last thing I said. So it's expected that towards the end of the session, I'm going to come back to this place, the session roadmap, to review whatever thing I've taught before so that it stays with the head. So it's very important you open up and then you also round up the lesson. Don't just end the lesson that way. All right. Ensure that you do a recap of whatever thing you guys have done before. That is what shows you are a great teacher. That's what shows that you know what you are doing when it comes to your online lessons or whatever thing you want to do. All right. So I gave something. This is how you keep yourself in check. Before the class, confirm everything, prepare the materials and everything. During the class, okay, look at me, prepare slide and test the links. For me, I was looking for the slide I prepared. Why I should have done that at least 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the class. And the little boy said, Uncle, I thought you were organized. And eventually the answer is what? Maybe the guy was thinking wrongly. All right. So during the class, you follow a clear sequence, and then there's something I realized: the energy you give to a class, sorry, the energy you give to a class is the same energy the boy will give to you. If you teach someone and teach and say, I'll be with you shortly, you leave. You come back again, I'll be with you shortly, you leave again. Notice something. It has a ripple effect on the child. They start seeing that, oh, this child I can this class I can play around with the class. But then if the child sees that, oh, there's a time we're going to gist, there's a time we're going to learn, they understand how you operate already as a person, and they're going to follow through that. When it's time for them to gist, they gist. When it's time to be serious, they'll be serious. Then this is very important. For me, I played my role well here for that particular message. Before the class, I was there. I prepared very well. During the class, obviously, I delivered. Then after the class, that was where the problem started. And now look at what happened. Because this side was played with after class, did you notice something? That woman never commended me for the labor of preparing the slides. She didn't commend me on the whole stress of the teaching during the class. What happened? She remembered what? After the class. So what that entails is that no matter how good this one is and this one is, If this side is bad, you've spoiled everything. And no matter how good, in fact, if this one is not good, then you are going to be a liar when it comes to this one. You go lie waiting no good. I don't know if you're getting my point. If here during the class and before the class you didn't prepare, then when it comes to this place that you're lying, you become a liar because you are telling them you are giving assignments you didn't teach anything. You are giving a parent the update, but the child did not learn anything. All right. You are seeing how important everything is. So these three are extremely important. From here to here to here, very important. So for me, I messed up here, and then everything, the whole stress of preparing slide, and even the energy I used in teaching, all the laugh I laughed with that child, it was a waste. And all the joke I cracked with that child that day was a waste because nobody cared about that. Are you seeing it now? They just remember the fact that I didn't do all of these things. Are you still with me? Please give me a thumbs up if you're following. All right. So good. A well organized lesson makes the learner feel safe and makes the parent feel confident. The child is safe and the parent is confident that yes, this man is able. Check what that woman said. She is questioning my commitments, whether I'm the right person for the child, and that's it. So it's very, very important that we pay attention to that. So let's move. So we're done with the first one. I'm trying to rush and rush and rush. So we've looked at interpersonal and emotional skills. We've looked at organizational and administrative skills. And then let's look at the professional qualities. I hope you are taking note of all of these things because it's very key. And some of these things, good enough, I'm learning through the job. Are you getting me now? I'm learning through the job. These are from experiences, the mistakes we've made, and the rest of them is what builds up all of this. So let's look at the professional qualities that we need to have when it comes to all of these things. This is very important. You see, being authentic, eh? That's why for me, I think it's good to speak phonetics per se, and then to speak like those children is very, very good. But for me, Lota, provided you're understanding what I'm saying, the Igbo tongue is, I'm not saying it's the best thing to do, but then I'm not trying to speak like who I'm not. I will speak the way I ought to speak. You understand? And that's how there's this Asian boy I was teaching. He has written his exam. He will be like, Lota, the man. The siblings will laugh and laugh and laugh. Because of what? That is my uniqueness. That is how they connect with me. You understand? So I'm not trying to be someone else. I will enter the class, I'll be like, Lowe, the man. The guy will shout, this is an Asian guy. Oh. He'll be like, Lota, the man. Are you seeing it now? So we connect and the happiness and the joy because I'm not just there. You are not just you are a human being. The guy is also a human being. So connect like human beings. That's why I don't really like when I enter a particular place, everybody's being too rigid. For crying out loud, we're human beings. And outside there, I'm not saying that we're going to play so much, but then try to be yourself. And there's something I normally do. Oga, the one I don't know, I will tell you I don't know it. You can never see me pretending to know. Maybe a child will ask me a question. I'm trying to prove that I know it. If I check and check and check, see, say I sort out, I'll check and check, browse and browse, and the rest of them use AI, and nothing is happening. Use AI. I'm not seeing the solution. I'll be like, permit me to get back to you on this. I'll even laugh about it. I'll be like, nah, this kind teacher we know sabi this kind question. Now teacher will him be. I don't know if you're getting my point. I'm just making the whole thing so it can be funny as well. You are not perfect. Everybody knows that, and the children like that so much. Sometimes one of the children will always correct me when I pronounce something. The girl will laugh and laugh and laugh. The other day, I think I said parallel lines or something. This girl laugh and laugh. Say, Lota is not parallel. She corrected her. All of us started laughing. Do you know that if I didn't create that platform, do you think that child can do that? The child will not correct me. She might just turn off her mic and then laugh. This kind of man said, you understand? But because of how that's being authentic, being just yourself, you get to learn from them. And you know one thing that actually amazes kids, when you tell them, teach me this, the way they like it, the way they like it when you tell them, can you teach me this? I'm going to learn from you. They just like it so much. So please admit when you need to verify something. All right. And then do not imitate another teacher blindly. Allow warmth and humor to your chain identity. All right. Just be yourself, be friendly, and then stay professional without being artificial. You don't have to frown your face and the rest of them. Just be happy, smile. You see, there's something that smiling in class does for you. All right. You just come to the class, you are smiling. As much, I'm not saying you should smile so much, but at least you put smile, everybody's happy. So just be yourself. It has a way of helping you connect with people very, very easy. There was a woman That was in 2020. Is that 2022 or 2020? Yeah. So I just entered and I was smiling as the man was like, this guy, why why are you smiling this way? You understand? So and that was how we connected. You get she said some of you that smile this way, you might be dangerous. Oh." I started laughing. But because that atmosphere was there, you connect with people very easily, and you also become approachable. People can approach you for something. So students will connect more easily with a real person than with a perfect performance. You don't have to be perfect. Be just you, be you, and it's one of those things that is going to separate you from others. So now patience is very, very important. So patience is creating enough emotional and mental space for learning to happen. Be patient. Even you, there were a time you yourself and I also had blockhead. A point where you don't understand anything, so you don't have to just be patient with them. Sometimes what I normally do, if I see say it don't they hard, I'll be like, don't worry, we continue in our next session. It saves me a lot. Number one, it saves you the stress of acting drama, maybe getting angry. If I see say he's not entering, I will just be like, oh bro, can we continue the next section? It saves you that emotional stress and then causing you don't have to say anything that will get the child angry and the rest of them. So sometimes we can be frustrated, we can be, but then I think it's better to just tell the child, oh, we can reschedule the class and they're going to understand it. All right. So you can also correct a child without being harsh. I'm not saying you should pamper them. All right. You can actually correct them firmly without being harsh. And they know. Sometimes when I get angry, class, not really that when I was like, the child knows and they will just maintain immediately. You'll be like, why are you feeling this thing again? Like you see that what the child will start doing now, finding a way to impress you immediately. They know when you're not happy with it, and they know they messed up. So and also celebrate gradual improvement. Sometimes I'll give them salutes when they get something correctly. Or maybe anybody you are teaching at all, whether an adult, just even adult wants you to tell them they are doing well. Even if the person answers you have 5 questions, the person got you correctly. Just have a way. There's something we call it the sandwich approach. So I didn't include it there. I just remembered it now. So the sandwich it means you praise, you correct, and then you praise as well. So that's how you give your feedback. You'll be like, oh, this is very beautiful. You praise the person, come to the center, but can you adjust here and here and here? Come to the last part and tell the person, oh, I believe you can do better in this. This is very quite beautiful. Just touch this side, it's going to be okay. That's the sandwich approach of giving a feedback. You praise the child, you make the correction, and then you praise the child again. But some of us, you start by saying you first of all attack, then you come to praise. Or I'm not hearing your praise again. No. Once you start by because you didn't appreciate the effort I put in already. Even if I have 3/30, I attempted something. So look at that one I attempted. Comment on that. Just comment that one I attempted before you start telling me the ones I failed. Every human being wants to be commended before being attacked. So comment, then you correct and you commend again. All right. So that's one thing I want us to add when it comes to patience. All right. So always allow them time to process the information and then try to break the difficult ideas into smaller steps and avoid answering every question for them. Just guide them through. Sometimes you just have to allow them to process the information. So that's when it comes to patience. Whether you're dealing with adults, a child, or whatever thing you are doing, it's important that you learn that art of patience because someone was patient with you as well. I might need to share this. I was that child that learned how to write. I think I've said it. I don't know if I said it in a professional setting before. I was that child that learned how to write letter S, and number 8 for almost the whole of my, what do you guys call that? Was it pre-nursery, nursery school? I don't know. My nursery two, the whole of the class. Others are learning. I'm standing on the whiteboard. I'm writing letter S, and I'm writing the number 8. I can remember vividly as a child. Others are learning. That's what I'm writing. I will write here. They will clean it. My 8 that time. This is how I normally write 8. I'll put zero, put zero. The woman said no. She doesn't want that kind of 8. You have. If I can remember this as even to date, I think it must have happened maybe within the ages of 3 to 4 years. So imagine if that woman wasn't patient enough to help. So imagine what would have been of me. So it's important that you stay patient because you never can tell. Someone was patient with you while growing up, just like me. I don't know that woman, but then wherever she is, I pray the Lord will bless her, whether she's alive or not, I don't know. But then she played an integral role that she actually fished me out from the class. Others are learning something else. I'm on the whiteboard learning how to write letter S and number 8 for close to 1 year as a child. So it's important that we have that particular patience and it's going to help a lot. Then adaptability, be ready to adapt, adjust your pace, different levels, different, use whatever thing you have. Every child is different. So don't try to force it. Break down the concept, add the drama when it's necessary, explain, use anything you could do for the child to just be flexible enough. Be flexible enough. Like that's why I started with something. Why I did the week one first is to build on something. You've decided you want to do this. And because you've decided to do this, all right, you have to give in your all to it, unless something comes through and then you want to, I don't know. And that's why I started with something about purpose. So understand why you want to do this. And when you do, when all those challenges will come, it's something that is going to help so well. So be ready to adapt, change your examples, try to understand what's happening, just adjust, be flexible. Don't be too rigid, don't be an electric pole, be flexible. Then this is the last one, that's responsibility. All right, arrive on time, prepare very well. Look at it, your workload should never become the student's body. This is what I wrote here now. Your workload should never becomes what? The learner's burden. Just like what I did, my workload shouldn't become that woman's problem. It is none of our business. So ensure you deliver when you ought to deliver. All right. And communicate very early. If you know you cannot meet up, I should have communicated with them. If I knew, I wouldn't have met up. So it's very important that you communicate. For example, do you know you can owe somebody? I'm not saying you should do that. You can be owing somebody for like 3 months. But do you know that if you, oh, bro, how far? I'm working on it. Oh, I will send them for you. Maybe next, nah, bro, my mind did that. Do you know that the person will not be angry? Do you know what actually gets people angry when you're owing them? They will send message, you go respond. The money you actually call them on phone to borrow. When it comes to paying back, I'm just trying to highlight the power of that responsibility and communication. You take responsibility of the whole thing. Bro, I will meet up with this. I will do this for you. I'm going to pay this money. That way you solve the problem. So when you see that the workload is much, just communicate. All right, that saves a lot of things for you. So mark the assignments, communicate changes, keep accurate record, meet your deadlines. That's very powerful, and it's going to help really, really well. Okay, then professional presence. I think I've spoke about that. Your camera being on, trying so much, good audio. But then let me say something. Some children, it differs with students. There's a child I taught for like 3 months. I've not seen his face before, and because I saw that the child doesn't care whether he sees my face or not, I don't know if you're getting my point. And then there's a subject you are learning, you don't have to see the person's face because you won't be looking at the person's face. You did get my point now. For example, mathematics, because you are trying to process the equation. What I won't carry your face do? It is that you are solving, I'm trying to process in my head. Are you seeing now? So it differs with students. Some people want their camera, they want to see you and the subject you are teaching. For example, if I'm talking on this subject now and my camera is not off, it doesn't make sense because I'm not I'm explaining something. So the gestures and the rest of them is very important that they get to see you. So it depends. So some children want to see you. So visible attention throughout the lesson. Then you can explain when your camera will be turned off. You can tell them, oh, sorry, I'm not feeling fine and my camera cannot be on. I think there's a time I did that because I was so down. I told the child, depends on the subject exactly. So I told the child, see, I will not be able to do this. You can just, So it depends on the subject. So sometimes, for example, now, if you watch a video on YouTube where somebody is teaching you how to do something, like how to do something, your mind is just processing what that person is doing, not even the face. So it depends on subject like someone highlighted now. And it's very important that if your camera will not be on, explain why it will not be on and let them know. All right. So every technical choice communicates something, even when you don't intend to do that. Did you see what I wrote there now? Imagine that woman, you saw her interpretation to what happened. For her, she said, it shows that I don't value her time and that of the child. And then she questions my commitment. So to her, turning off my camera, the interpretation she has for that is that I don't value their time. All right. So your technical choice, it communicates something. Are you seeing it now? But for another person, it's not a big deal. All right. So I have students that I teach, and then my camera might not be on, and the rest of them, and it's not a big deal to them because sometimes it's mathematics, and but for some persons, it's a big deal, and you have to actually play around with that. All right. So I'm glad we're coming to the end. We've looked at interpersonal and emotional skills. We looked at organizational and administrative skills. We looked at professional skills, and then effective lesson delivery and assessment. So now remember that you're looking at the skills. By next week now, I will start teaching the tools. What are those tools you can use to create the assignment, deliver the assignment, record your class, teach the class, connect your pen, do this one, and the rest of them. That will be in our next class. But for now, let's understand some of those skills that you need to make your classes engaging and not to have problem with anybody that employs you tomorrow. You're right. So you don't have issues with those people that employ you tomorrow or anybody you'll be working with when it comes to online lessons. So it's a lot of work, but then all things are possible. If you're still with me, can you give me a thumbs up? All right, beautiful. So that said, we can move to the next one. Let me drink water, please. I'm talking no easy, man and brethren. This job is never easy. All right, so but then there's this joy and happiness that comes with it. I don't know for others, but then I feel that there's this happiness that always comes with the teaching, basically. There are some days that you start and you are so tired, and immediately you start teaching, you're not surprised where the energy is coming from. Is a sign that is something you've been called to do. All right, so let's continue. So designing an learning experience for every learner. So how do you design for every learner? So how do you go about that? Different persons learn in different ways, and then I'm going to be asking us, each and every one of us, how do you learn? And I want you to answer the questions. Okay. So how do you learn? Sorry, hold on. No problem. That's fine. That's fine. So now we accepted to do it, so there's nothing to be sorry about. We'll have to pay the price. All right. So let's look at designing now. Design an effective lesson. Please, this is where everything it boils down to now, please. So pay rapt attention at this point. So let's look at what a lesson slide should look like. What should the flow look like? All right. Have an icebreaker. So my own icebreaker for that lesson was that thing I gave you. If you came on time, you understand something. Now I want us to type on the chat now. Do you realize that that particular screenshot I shared with us, it actually gave a context to the class. Three of us. You can type on the or give me a thumbs up. It made the class more easier to understand because you've seen what it looks like in real life. It makes it easier to relate to because there is something I've presented to you already as a case study. So that can be an icebreaker. For example, you want to explain something like what can I use now? Let's say you want to explain something about parts of the body. You can have an icebreaker that it mustn't be related to the lesson. It can be a game that the children can play. That way, it creates that energy for them. You can just create a game. There's something normally do back then. Um, I don't know how they say it again. I have goat with me. I have like 3 yams with me. I have so and so and so. I need to cross them to the other side. Can you remember those kind of things? Who can remember those kind of things? I have yam, I have goat, blah blah blah. Which one should I cross first? And the rest of them. You could play that kind of game. You see the children, it kind of makes the class interesting. That would be an icebreaker. You understand? It might not be related to your lesson, but then if you have a way, if you can find a way to connect it to your lesson, it makes more sense because they can easily understand what you're trying to teach. All right. You want to talk about photosynthesis? Look at something you can actually bring in. They can play as a game. They respond. They answer. Those students are excited. They want to learn more from you. Because you've actually played a game or done something that will connect them to actually share their thoughts or ideas. You can even do something about. I'm trying to look for perfect examples, but nothing is coming to my head. Anything you want to teach, just look at ways you can bring it in. Let them answer questions. They share their thought on this, share their thought on what do you think about this. They are saying a lot of things. You'll be surprised that the way you even get knowledge from what they are sharing and then add it to your own lesson. You now summarize what they said and begin your own class. So icebreakers are very, very important to begin your lessons with. Then the next one is your lesson objective. Let them know what you guys are going to be learning in the session. At the end of the day, it helps you to actually during your conclusion, you not know whether you guys have achieved that particular goal. You can have your introduction, then the content, what you want to teach, the practice, and the rest of them. Then there should be your practice question. Then exit ticket. It's more like what you want them to remember. Maybe what you want them to go home with. That's your exit ticket. So as you're going home with this, I want you to remember this, that, and that. It becomes a structure. But look at what I said. This is a starting structure. You don't have to be rigid. You can improve on it. You can, depending on who you are teaching. But I think it's always very good to start with something very engaging, that will make the students talk and the rest of them. Good enough, whether online or offline, all of these things, when you apply it in your classes, it's going to make your class interesting, even to you as the teacher, and that's for that. Now, next thing is about your formative assessment. Now, formative assessment is the one you take during the lesson to check if they are following. For example, you explain something, you are giving the child, you're asking me a question, define this for me. You are trying to check whether the child is understanding what you are doing. So formative assessment is the one you do during the class. It can be an oral question, it can be a poll, and I'll be teaching how to create some of those things, the tools you can use to create them. It could be a short quiz, you can be a game, you want them to play inside the lesson. All right. So you can check if they are following or whether they're understanding what you are saying. Okay. Then more like it's what does the learner understand now and what should I do next? That will tell you, should you go to the next subtopic you have to teach, or do you have to go back again? So it helps you to check whether they are following. All right. The same way I will also ask questions here to know if we are following. That's your formative assessment to check whether the whole thing is going well. Then you now have summative, just like the name, sum after everything, after the class. So I said the assessment that happens after a topic, a unit, or a learning period. It can be after you must have taught all the topics or after the class, you give them something to write. But remember something, it depends on the child. Someone like me, I have to be sincere with you. Um, I'm the kind of person that, unless I've read something before coming to class, or I've seen it somewhere before coming to the class, there is 100% chance that if I'm seeing something for the first time, no matter how you explain it, if you give me assessment after the class, my score will not be encouraging. Different persons, so that you have to understand. It's not a must you're going to give summative assessment. I don't know if you're getting my point. Understand how the child learns. It might be maybe after teaching the child, you give the child the material or the student the material. Some of them will prefer just give me, let me go home. And I'm that kind of person. Give me, let me go home. I will finish work. I will go and do my research. And in the next class, bring the test. I will clear everything. So, but you forcing me to give me that assessment to check whether I understood what you taught, my dear, I will fumble. They're not too worried about it. Unless it's something not too difficult. But once it's something I've not seen for the first time, no matter how you want to do it, I might actually not do well when it comes to the assessment, unless God grants me sharp understanding at the moment. So understand your students and then know when to apply this summative assessment. It can come in the next class, it can come after the class. So that's why I said it happens after a topic, a unit, or a learning period. Whether you want to do it after the lessons, maybe the next lesson you do the assessment, or it depends on the child anyway. So why there are people that you can give them immediately, they will answer. When they come to class again, give them that same assessment, they will not remember anything again. There are people like that. So understand how it works. All right. So after a topic, measure the achievement, end of a topic, how much learning has been achieved. That will tell you the progress you've made, whether you're going to go back to the particular topic or whether you're going to move forward. So that's your summative assessment. So at every point in time, sorry, I forgot something. We also have your diagnostic test assessment. You're trying to diagnose. If sorry, I forgot, very important. If you're meeting a child for the first time, if you're having a what do you call it, a class with a student for the very first time, let's say that someone assigns a student to you, the first thing you need to do is the diagnostic assessment. You're trying to diagnose. People in medicine will understand better. You are trying to check what are the areas and strength of this child in that particular topic. That will now help you to know how to tailor. Don't just give me their curriculum. You start teaching the child. You don't even know whether he knows how to divide numbers, whether he understood, you understand that kind of thing, whether he can spell very well, whether he can write very well. So have that assessment first before you start teaching the child. After that very assessment, that will now tell you where to start. You might even abandon the curriculum at the time being just to work on the foundation or the basis of whatever thing the child is doing. So that particular portion is what we call the diagnostic test, all right, or assessment, as the case might be. That's the first thing that happens before you start taking the classes. I don't know how I forgot to add that to the slide. Then the second one will be the formative assessment, and then the third one is the summative assessment. Is that okay? A thumbs if you're following it now. A thumbs up. Any questions so far? Am I alone? Am I the only one here? All right. Okay. All right. So please, very, very important. And then the feedback. All right. Try to be specific. Be honest. Your feedback should show show the learner what worked and what needs improvement and what to do next. Don't just say 5/10 and leave it that way. Let the person understand that you had 5/10. Question number 1 and 2, 3. You tried very well. You multiplied the number, but then you failed to move the decimal place. I'm using math so much because sorry about that. Let's say in chemistry or anything you want to use. I'm just using the one I can remember because now it's in the head now. So you made a mistake in your decimal point. You can move it this way. Let the child understand that this is what you did well. These are the areas you can improve, and then this is what you can do next. Recommend what the child can do. Oh, I noticed that you're not dividing your numbers very well. Please, when you get home, try to learn your long division. When you get home, try to do this. All right. You're teaching someone graphic design and the rest of them. You notice that the child is not arranging the text very well. when you go home, go and watch so and so video so you can be able to arrange the test very well. So anything you are teaching at all, always show the learners what they did well, what they need to improve, and exactly what to do. Because you can tell me what to improve on, but if you don't tell me what to do next, I'm confused. So how will I get better? So that's the basic thing. And that's what makes a complete feedback. So a good feedback should tell me what worked, should tell me what I need to improve on, and then should end up telling me what I should do next. What are the action plan I should take so that I can improve on those things? So feedback should have three angles: what worked, what needs improvement, and what I should do next. Even in real life, even in life, aside classes, if you are trying to advise somebody, you start by telling the person, you did this one very well. These are the things you're going to improve on, and then recommend books or anything the person can do next so as to accomplish the goal. All right. So I think we are done with what do you call it, effective delivery. I think it's now time to look at I omitted something. Oh yeah, yeah, good. So let's look at designing. I think I'm done with effective lesson delivery and assessment. Okay. So five goals, five skills have been covered. So I'm happy. We've climbed from the first ladder to the second ladder to the third ladder to the fourth ladder. Now we are climbing the last ladder. All right. So I'm so excited that we're moving forward. So the last one, the last ladder now is about designing the learning for every learner. Designing what? Learning for every learner. So now picture five learners sitting in the same lesson. You have example now. I teach children in year seven, teaching children in year four, year five. I teach of recent. I'm taking a child of 4 years going to five because of what the man insisted. The man said it must be me, and then I had to step into those shoes. So you have different students at different points in time. So your brain is switching from one gear to another. You switch from advanced maths to normal mathematics to children mathematics. You are switching your brain at every point in time. Imagine when you now have up to like 7 students. Let's say you start working with Sismo now, and then God helping, we'll have more students, and then we'll say we're giving you 5 students, 6 students of different classes. So you are switching your head at every point in time, and understand something that these students are different. The way Mr. A understands is not the way Mr. B understands. The way Mr. C understands is not the same way Mr. D understands. And that is even what brought about one-on-one classes. One-on-one classes started because people understood that the way a child learns differs. But in a school, they want everybody to learn the same way. Do you understand what I'm saying now? In a school, they want everybody. If you're learning in a class in a group, nobody cares about you. Whether that's what I'm saying now. Will I tell my lecturer in school that I don't do well when you give me summative assessment during after class? Will I tell him? I can't say that kind of thing. You are in a school setting, so you have to, whether you like it or not, you're going to write it during that period. But that's not my strength. So that's where one-on-one classes comes into play. That you understand your students, and then you build them through that line. So we have different kind of visuals. We have the first learner, someone that understands by seeing. I'm one of those people. I understand better by seeing, and that is why it looks as though I think too much because I want to create images in my head. For example, you are teaching me, let's say, for even English, you are teaching me now. Let's say what is a noun, the rest of them. I'm beginning to picture what does noun look like. It can be a weakness sometimes because you start imagining so much. And that is why part of the reason why I don't understand immediately in class. Part of the reason why I don't understand immediately in class is because as you are teaching, I'm spending time trying to picture what you are saying. I might be picturing that one. You've moved to the next topic, to the next. So I don't know if you're getting my point now. You might be teaching that particular one. I'm trying to picture how it looks like. You've moved to the next section, and I'm still thinking about the other section. So different persons and different way they learn, and that's why you have to check what kind of student is this. Does the child appreciate seeing it? Some of the children they don't want long story. I have a child like that. So Mr. Luther, once you come to class, straight to the point. Even how was lesson, how was, don't ask him. He doesn't care, and I understand that. So once I come to class, nothing like Joko, nothing like play. We'll go straight to solving the mathematics. That is how the child learns. He doesn't need anything like let's laugh, let's ask questions. So understand how the child learns. So we have those that need more processing time. It takes time for them to understand some things. Give them that time. Don't rush. You have those that finish things very early. Don't waste their time. Like I said, they are just straightforward. So there's this girl, I don't need to prepare slide for her. She doesn't need all those, whether the slide is fine or beautiful. She doesn't care. Her own, just teach me this math, let me go. Teach me that subject, let me go. She doesn't care whether, and then you have people that are very anxious and afraid of making mistakes. They know the answer, but they are very scared. Understand how to work with those ones. And there are people that they learn by doing. Very technical people. They want to work it out immediately. So these are, I will have name for them. We'll have the visual learner, I'll have auditory learners. Is it the other one? Okay, something. Educators in the house, remind me. People that work with hand. There's something we call it. You can type it for me again. I can't remember the pronunciation again. Visual learners, auditory learners, people that learn by working by hand. You can, I think, Kenny something. It starts with K. I can't remember again, but these are three categories of learners. So understand the one that the student is, and then work with that. So imagine you have these five persons now. Are you going to teach them the same way? No. You are going to the same destination, but you're going to take a different journey to get to the location. All of them are going to the same destination, but the way you're going to communicate with them is going to differ. And that is why, while in school, I became someone that watched a lot of YouTube videos. I could sit down to watch up to 5 hours of YouTube videos for a particular course, right? Because it is my strength. I understand better by seeing. I want to see the animation. I want to see how it works. Good enough. Immediately I can see those videos, it helps me understand faster. So for such a child, give them more pictures. Give them pictures. They're going to understand. Their brain is more like they capture images so well. So observe the kind of learner this child is and help them understand that way. All right. So let's dive into it now. And this is what we call that thing I mentioned now is what we call differentiated instruction, DI. When it comes to education, that's what we call it, differentiated instruction. All right, DI. So it's a process of you breaking down the instruction to meet each student's need, their interest, and their strengths. All right. Sometimes I usually ask the children, what do you love doing? If they like football, I will always link my example to football. Do you know why? They're already excited. You're talking about Messi, bringing equations about Messi, talk about projectile, talk about C. Ronaldo. You are linking that child's interest to the example, and they will listen very well. Anyone that loves movie, what you need to do, even if you're not a movie person, just try your best. Allow the child to be just nodding your head. So connect to their interest and their strengths and even what they need. That's what we mean by DI. So it is not a set of strategies, it's just a mindset, understanding that everybody learns differently. Even in this our session now, some person might prefer just talk and talk, don't show all of these things. Even this thing I'm showing now, people will prefer I bring a student to this class. And then as I'm teaching, I'm showing how I'm doing all of this. There are people that will prefer it that way. They will learn faster. All these things I'm saying now, they prefer, let's have a student in this particular place. And I'm teaching that student, and you are seeing how I'm doing it. Different people, different ways. So you understand that every child has a different learning style. Every child have their preferences. They have their strengths. They have their challenges. I use myself as an example, the way I learn, the challenges I have while learning, which happens to be with I picture images a lot, and it can be a problem. All right. So when you use DI, you are steering all your students towards the same learning objective, while giving them freedom to choose how they will get there. Everybody is going to the same direction, but give me the freedom of how I want to get there. So if you have Mr. A, Mr. B, give them that freedom on how you want to get to the location. But that is one thing that our school system have not done. But thank God for AI. That is one key thing that people think that AI is about you create images, you create code, and the rest of them. One thing about AI is that understanding your need and addressing it based on your own strength and everything. Because the more you interact with it, the more it understands you better, and the more it gives you answers and solutions based on your individual need. And that is the kind of education we need currently, where we are not just we are forcing everybody to go through the same curriculum. You are doing it now based on the needs, the strengths. In a class, example is not based on, you are giving the example based on the child's interest. For example, if I think someone was preaching in church the other day, and then he was using an example of, can I remember this example? I don't know anything about it, so I couldn't relate. And oh, good, it was a movie, one particular movie. I never watched. I was hearing the name for the first time. So everybody in the church, they were following through. But me, I was just moping like I couldn't relate. So because of what? That's not my own area of this. Unless I didn't even mention military something, and then I will vibe in immediately. So different person, different interest, and different understanding, and that's how it works. All right. So give them the freedom to get to where they are going to. So how can you do that? What are the 4 areas you have to pay attention to as a teacher when you have those kind of students, different students? How do you pay attention? So tomorrow we'll have an online class. We'll give you like 5 students. How would you go about this? And that is why someone will ask me, how will I know the kind of student a child is? That is why you have that diagnostic assessment. From that assessment, you get to ask them question. What do you love doing? Some of those things. You are asking that not because you want to have that conversation. You are asking those questions because it's giving you an idea of the kind of examples you'll be using for the child. It's giving you an idea, the kind of things you'll be saying, because you now understand better how that child learns. For example, I was trying to explain something the other day about upthrust. For example, if you are drawing water from the well, understand something. When that buga or the bucket or whatever thing you are drawing the water from, right? Once it is inside water, you don't feel the weight, right? When that thing is inside the well, you're not feeling the weight of the bucket or whatever thing. If you are following, give me a thumbs up now. You know what I'm saying? Like once that bucket is still inside the water, you're not feeling the weight. But once it comes out, you start feeling the weight. All right. So I was trying to explain that concept, upthrust. But this child never see well before because of the location where he is. Are you seeing my problem now? He has not seen or drew water from a well before. But if I use that example for a child here in Nigeria, the child will understand what I'm saying. But the other one, you don't understand what they talk. So I have to find another way to explain the upthrust. What am I saying? Even the location determines the kind of examples you use. To say something about firewood the other day, the guy was looking at me like I was like, okay, what do you mean? So different examples, different location, different people. All right. So let's start with that. The first one is the content. So the content has to do with what the learners will assess. Do you understand? What kind of material are you going to give to them? If the child wants people that like visuals, give them a video. There's a class I was teaching. I saw that this guy wants to. He was my type. So what I will do is that before every class, we're going to watch a YouTube video. After watching the video, I will now start explaining because the guy understands by seeing. People like images. So that will tell you the kind of content you're going to give to the child before coming to class. Are you going to download images? Are you going to bring a video to the class? Or are you just going to come and then start writing, depending on how the child learns? So that's the content. Now, the process now is how would they practice what they've learned? How would they actually practice it? How can they explore? That's the process. Remember, you have the content and then the process. How do you navigate through? How will I show you I understand what you are saying? And then the next one is what? The product and the project. How can a child now tell you that yes, what you are teaching me, I now understand it? Some persons will prefer presentation, some persons prefer an oral test. So how will the child, which one does the child like better? Give them that freedom to show you how they understand. But our school system, they will force you into the one they want you to do. But we have different unique strengths, and that's how you can test our abilities. For some persons, when it comes to writing those things, that becomes a problem. Tell them to speak, perfect. Some persons cannot speak, but they can write very well. So find a way to allow them to express themselves. That is why it is a one-on-one class. Remember, we said one-on-one class. Now, me and you. So get to understand me and solve my problem for me. And that's why the parents are paying you. That's why the company are paying you. So you can actually give the child what they need. Now is the learning environment. How the session feels. How the tutor and the learner work together. How would the teacher and the students, how would they work together? Understand? Like I said, I have a child, I've not seen his face before. His own is go straight to the point. And I don't have a problem with that. So don't force it. Don't force it. That's how the learning environment should be. A very serious one. You see me, I tighten my face, he tightens his, everybody's learning. I don't even ask him how is, I don't have a business with that. He doesn't have a business with me as well. So some people like it that way. So the learner determines the learning environment. But there are people that when you do that, automatically they will tell the parent that this guy knows about anything. Because what? You are not matching their energy. All right. There's a child I have. Before I will teach that girl, I will ensure that I eat very well because she, my God, like I would say she's energy draining, but she has a lot of energy. So for you to teach her, you have to match that energy. Do you understand? She has a lot of energy. So she will ask question. You'll be like, it's okay, let's come back to class. So she will not be like, look, I'm not doing that today. You have to maintain that energy. So different students and the learning environment you can create, you get. So aim to create an inclusive environment where all students can succeed, no matter who they are. All right. So and I'm break it down. So content is figuring out what a student needs to learn and which resources will help them. Are you going to provide a video for them? Will you bring images to the class? What will you bring to class to make the learning very, very interesting for them? All right. So what does the child need or the student need in order to do what? Assess the idea. There are people that like stories so much. Tell them stories, they will understand better. So are you going to explain that based on a story? Will you act drama for them in class? Let's say you come to class, you want anything you could use as well to explain the idea is what we regard as the content. I hope it's making sense. Some persons, is it a video you want to send, a textbook, whatever thing it is that will help that student to assess the idea is entirely fine. That is what the content boils down to. Now, the next one is, I give an example, sorry. So I used photosynthesis as an example now. So the different content I can do, I can actually, I wish I have my pen with me. I can just decide to, okay, I can decide to just sketch it. I can use sketch. Because I'm a visual learner, when you see my summary notes in school, I will have something like, I will draw a box. Let's say I'm doing something like, let's say, let's think something that can be divided. Okay, let me use this teach this my classes now. I have, you can even see it in the slide. Now I have, the first one is uh let's say professional qualities. Under professional qualities, I will draw a line under it. I will draw a line the other side. One, two, three. Now they have three branches because that's the way I learn. From that structure, I have a box. This one is here. Number one goes here. Number two goes here. Number three. There are students that way. So break it down for them. When you look at the center, it's more like a family. This one goes here. This one goes here. Just feel free to draw those things for them if that's how they understand. All right. So differentiate the content based on the child that you are teaching. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. Now, I give an example for the process. All right. So the ways for students to show that they show what they know as they walk through it. I can decide to tell them, okay, hands-on experiments by they can observe firsthand. You can tell them, okay, go home and do so and so thing. They could see that come into play. There's something I taught a child the other time about electrostatic force. I just did this on my hair. Like if you push, just throw, then you now touch it on the paper, it's going to gum, like it's going to magnet the paper. That's electrostatic force in physics. So immediately I did that, the guy was so excited, you know. Then the next one I did the other time as well was about magnets. There's something we did as children where you pour sand on paper and then you put magnet under it, your magnet under it. As you're moving, Mr. Hillary, I know you know this one. I know say you play well. So when you put the magnet under it, give me a thumbs up if you're following. Yeah, I know you did that. So when you pour the sand on the paper and then you put magnet under it, good. As you're moving the magnet, the sand is moving. Back then, we even draw the road. We have a roundabout. They will have the road and they are moving it through. So I give that example for the child. That guy was excited. And that's how I explained magnetic field and the rest of them. So find better ways that there's someone that as you're doing that, this guy is wasting my time. He doesn't need those things to understand. And it's even better self. So you don't have to stress yourself. All right. So different contents, different persons. Okay. So persons understand by group discussion. They want you guys to discuss about it. So feel free to discuss so much about it. That's your content. All right. So that's what the process is all about. Then you can actually differentiate the process. Yeah, kinesthetic learners. Yeah, that's what I was trying to pronounce. But my brain decided to disappoint me. So we have the visual learners and then the auditory learners. So this one, they learn by doing. These ones, people like me, they learn by seeing diagram and infographics. I like infographics so much. Just like what you can see here, I have my box. Inside the box, even my class notes in school, that's how I break it down. You know, keep it this way, draw the lines, different persons. So these ones prefer listening, you know, and everybody different pattern. So it's important that you work your content in a way that is going to make sense. Then the next one now, what are those activities that can help them to make sense, to make the learning that will help them so that the learning will make sense? All right. So it includes what the activities that will help the student will make sense of what they learn, how to demonstrate their understanding. You can tell them, go research on so and so thing for me. For those ones that like researching. So research on this topic, bring it for me. You can tell them, create a slide, bring it for me. You can tell them, execute this project, bring it for me. Give them different formats. Don't be too rigid. Don't tell the child you must give me the assignment this way or the students. Just be free enough to tell them, understand what they like so much, then give the assignments in different ways. That's what the project means. How can I tell you that I understood what you said? All right. So I said something here. Let the students choose how they demonstrate what they understood. Let them choose how they understood it. All right. Give them that freedom. Okay. Provide a small set of meaningful options rather than a fixed format. Okay. So differentiate the format, but the same objective. Prepare the slide and the rest of them. So the key thing you're going to ask yourself at this stage is how can these students show what they understand? How can he show me that he understood what I said? And in which way can they show me? Which way fit them more? Is it to communicate? So which one is more interesting to them? So that's what your product and your project, that's what it means entirely. All right. Then the next one is I give an example actually, how to apply to photosynthesis. So students should choose to explore photosynthesis using a plant of their choice. They can decide to give me a slide. I can tell them, go and download images for me, show me those images, all right, prepare a slide, depending on what they like doing. You get so, or you can also tell them to draw. Go and draw the key stages in photosynthesis from the sunlight, this and that. Draw it and bring to class. That's a different way that they learn. So I say something now. By providing the choice, students can demonstrate their understanding in a way that aligns with their strengths and their interests. That is what the project and the product is all about. Can I go to the next slide, please? Can I go to the next slide? A thumbs up. Should I move to the next? Are we good? All right, thank you. We are good, right? Okay, great, great, great. All right, so I think I've actually spoken about the learning environment. All right, how does the session feel? Just understand how the child, just understand. Don't push it so much. All right, I think I've said that. What conditions will the learner do? Okay, under what conditions will this learner do their learning? Have the best learning experience. So under what condition? Create that condition for them. High energy, give them that energy. People that are very straightforward, give them that straightforward. People that like laughing and joking, ensure you are joking with them. Don't be too rigid because you get to connect with them faster. Someone like me, naturally, my best students are those that can laugh very well. Right? If you can laugh, Jones, I just prefer you because that's my person as well. But that doesn't mean that other ones I don't like them. But because of the learning environment, I enjoy it more because they align with my kind of person as well. So it determines. Okay, so giving the learner full undivided attention during session, creating a calm and judgment-free, adjusting the pace and the rest of them. So these are the things you could do when it comes towards the learning environment. Okay, so the summary of what I gave. So for the topic I'm teaching them is photosynthesis. They have one objective, all right? How plants will convert light to what? Energy. The same classroom, all right? But then they have different strengths and the rest of them. So I have 4 design decisions. I decide on the content, the process, the product or the project I want to give them, and the learning environment. These are 4 key ways you can actually differentiate your instruction depending on the child you are taking, depending on the student you are teaching. Very, very what important. So look at what I said here. Equality gives every learner the same thing. Equity gives every learner what they need to succeed. So give them what they need to succeed, but ensure they are learning the same thing. In probability, we call it what? A fair die, or like a unbiased, yeah, an unbiased event. An event that is unbiased means that a 50-50 chance. That's what we mean by this equality. Then the equity now, you are giving them what they need to succeed as individuals. And that's one thing our educational system has failed to do, right? Because you are assessing different people with the same parameter. We are different people, but then they are using the same format to assess everybody. And at the end of the day, they will not be like, this one is more intelligent than this one. But we're using the same format to assess everybody. And it doesn't really make sense. But that's not our problem anyway. All right. So this is another example I gave. I was thinking I'm going to have time, but then the same process on water cycle and how it could be. All right. So this differentiation will ask you, who am I teaching? That's what this one is all about. Then we'll have something we call the innovative instruction. Innovative instruction now means, how can I make the learning more meaningful? How can I achieve the process, the content, all right, and the learning environment? How can I achieve that? That is what the innovation is all about. So I'm going to rush that very quickly because I think I've talked for a long time and I'm drained already. I've talked for a long time already. Well, I think we started by 5 o'clock or thereabouts. So almost 2 hours, almost 1 hour, 30 minutes. So let's look at innovation now. So for innovation, I have something right here. We'll call it innovative instruction. So it's simply about the technology and the activities I'm going to do so that my students will understand what I'm teaching. So what are those approaches I'm going to use to be able to differentiate the instruction? So DI is differentiated instruction. Then the way I can actually achieve DI is what we call innovative instruction. So what are those technology? What are those hands-on activities? What are those materials that can actually help my students in a meaningful way for them to understand what I'm teaching them? It can actually go through different environments. It could be them experimenting something. It could be discussion. It could be about thinking out something, So I'm going to look at four of them. These are the benefit actually. Active learning, they can actually ask questions. They are right there with you. It makes the learning quite engaging. We have retention and engagement. It also builds a stronger relationship because you understand how everybody works and learn. So I want to rush so that I can see how everything works. So what are the five methods? We have project-based learning. People that learn by doing. We have inquiry-based learning. They learn by questioning. You can tell them to go and research on something. Just people like that. Just give them. We have what we call the flipped classroom, and they will have the gamification now. People that want to play game. We have, and that's what I'll be teaching us next week. What are those tools that they can use for the game? What are those learning? We have a lot of them, right? As they are playing the game, they are understanding the topic. Now, the flipped classroom model is what I did last week. I sent a material to us before we came to class. So that material is that you read the material, you now come to class. That will make the class more engaging and interesting. Why? Because you've already studied what I'm going to teach you. That's what we mean by a flipped classroom. All right. So you learn before you come to the live session. And that's I think we'll publish the paper on this. I work with someone, she's not on the call, Annabelle, right? We published a paper in 2024, a research paper on that, on flipped classroom model, how it can actually enhance science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education in Nigeria. So it was a paper we published, very amazing, all right? It's a very powerful skill that makes learning very interesting. Maybe because I'm that kind of person that loves to, I want to read what you're going to teach me before coming to class. And that way, the class is going to be very interesting because I have an idea. We can discuss, I can contribute, you can contribute. That's your flipped classroom model. So you can decide to send the materials to the students before they come to class. Maybe send the video to the parents. For our own dashboard, you can send the video. We have an option for that. The child will look at it before coming to class. If it's a material, you send across, the child looks at it before coming to class. All right. That's your flipped classroom. They will have the chunking. We'll have people that want to learn in bits. Just gradually give them small, small. Just like the same way I eat. Just give me the food every 30 minutes. I'm okay. So don't give me that big food and tell me I'm going to eat again in 5 hours. You're looking for my trouble. Just give me small, small every 30 minutes. I'm okay. So that's for the chunking now. So let's dive into each of them. So your PBL, all right? Project-based learning. So what can they do? Find something that they can work on. Ask them when you go back home after the lesson online. Tell them to go so and so place, do this thing for me, and bring to the next class. You see, some of those children they will not even sleep because you give them something to do, and that will make them understand better and also see the importance of what you are teaching them, right? People that like to learn by doing, just give them something to do, all right? And then the next one is I give an example here, but because of time, just an example to help us understand what PBL is. But I get everybody understood what I said now. You understood there? A thumbs up about PBL. Just any project they could do. Back in secondary school, they would just tell us to go and do one or two things, plant something and the rest of them. So we also have inquiry-based learning. You can tell them to go and research on the topic and then come to class and defend. So what it does to them is that as they are researching those things, they are learning something new. As they are researching, they are learning something new. So everybody different thing. But the major thing you're trying to achieve is to build an interest in them. Now, it was in 2023 in my final year in school. That was when my brother gave me a task to do. He said, Lota, can you help me browse about renewable energy and send the project to me? That was how my interest in renewable energy came because of that assignment he gave me. So for some persons, just give them something to go and research. It's going to build an interest in them. And that's how I researched, and my brother was amazed how I delivered. But then that sparked an interest in me on biogas, biofuels. That was the research. I never knew about it till when he gave me that particular task to do. So different person, different ways to catch their interest per se. All right. Then we'll have the gamification. We'll have quizzes. We'll have Kahoots. All right. A lot of platforms you can use. Very interesting for the children. They just like it. They hear that sound. Tone on. Oh, more they're excited. So there's one like more like a quiz. I'm going to show us. That person will join. You click on the answers. The answers will reflect. We also have Kahoots. A lot of them that we can use and make learning quite interesting. So by next week, we'll be looking at those tools that we can use for our both the content, how you can get your slide, how you can get your images. There are some platforms you can go, it can give you a slide. We'll have OneNote, a lot of platforms that can help us with the content. Okay. Then we'll have the gamification. All of those things will be explained. So we are going to incorporate games to your classroom. That makes it quite interesting. You know, And that's for that anyway. So I've talked about the chunking already from the beginning of the session. I've talked about flip classroom already. Send videos to them, send materials to them. They should read before coming to class, just like what we did last week. And you read that particular playbook before coming to the class. That's a flipped classroom model. All right. I go on. Okay, I give you the example here. I think I highlighted it here. You received the playbook before section one. That was a simple flipped learning experience. Okay. So sometimes someone can share a short video you can watch before coming to class. That's also a flipped classroom model. You can also use storytelling. There are people that like stories. Just tell them stories. They're going to connect better. All right. So begin the class with telling a story, whether about yourself or it catches the. Everybody likes story, provided the story is meaningful and you're not lying. Everybody likes story. All right. Look at what I said here. People may forget a definition, they remember a story. People may forget a definition, but they remember a story. For example, for me, in physics, Makata, were you there when this man said that momentum is agreement? Momentum, that's the physics man back in the days. So now, a momentum, he said, is in Igbo, we call it agreement. I don't know what they call it in our language. That means when you pull body for somebody, like, when they push you, you still stand. I don't know what they call it, but in Igbo language, we call it agreement. So the man said that momentum simply means that. Till date, I can still remember that story he told about the momentum stuff. Then the next one is about tangent. You know a tangent line. A tangent is simply a line that touches a circle. But what that man said is that a tangent is a line that does on a circle. I can't forget that he did. Because of what? That additional thing that man said about a tangent is a line that does a circle. Nobody will forget it. So I can forget the definition, but the story, I'm going to remember it. All right. So sometimes storytelling is going to help the kids to actually understand better and remember whatever thing you are teaching them. All right. So it's quite amazing that some of those examples will help your students to always remember whatever thing you taught them. All right. So that brings us almost to the end. This is what we have on the Sismo teaching wheel. All right. So every skill we cover today is on this wheel. You can look at it. So, and the student is at the center. So look at the center. Remember this. You can remember these things now. Purpose driven. You can remember them. Fun. These are our values. Teamwork, excellence, innovation. I hope you can see the screen very well. We'll have integrity. These are our values at Sismo. Then on this wheel, look at something now. We have the assessment. All right. We have DI, differentiation. We have the innovation I spoke about. We have organization, that's your administrative skills. We have communication that has to do with your interpersonal skills. We have empathy. We have purpose. All right. We have reflection. So everything revolves around this. So we have our purpose, our values around it, and then we'll have the skills around it. So this is our Sismo teaching wheel, and this is what we abide by, all right, at every point in time. So eventually we forgot to do that with that woman, and then because we are quite busy, and that brought about a problem. So this is our wheel. And for example, if eventually you start working with us tomorrow, always remember that we have our wheel, all right, that we'll work with. So it helps us to do what? To design the learning experience and the value guide how we use those skills. All right. So remember what I said? That the skills helps us design the learning experience. Those skills I mentioned helps us at Sismo to design our learning experience, and the values will now guide how we use some of those our skills. That is why we said that skills can be learned, but character must be built. All right. So that's why we started with character the last time. Character is very important, but the skills can be learned. So that's why we said that all of these things now, you are going to use the skills now, but the value is going to guide how we use those skills. So value is very important to guide how you use those skills to teach the students or even our students, as the case might be. All right, so this is what we spoke about today: purpose, empathy, communication, organization, assessment, and the rest of them, just in one line. So I have a question for you this evening. So which part of your teaching wheel is currently the weakest? Be honest to yourself. Which part are you very weak at? What are the areas you think you need to improve on as a teacher? So in that our wheel, which one is your weakest at this point in time? It's a question that I want you to answer. Be honest to yourself. Is a rhetoric question. You don't have to give me the answer, but just be honest to yourself. Okay. In the opening case I had now, if you remember that, what would have prevented those things? Let me go back to that story. Okay, let me just continue. Okay, let me go to the story. So in that story, some things happened, but these are some things that would have actually avoided that problem. The empathy, communication, tracking the homework, the assessment. These are things that would have avoided that problem that we had with that particular woman. So failure becomes useful when it produces a better system. So for me, and I'm taking corrections, I'm going to go back to apply our skills once again to what that woman needs. So we have before the lesson, remember again, before your lesson, during the lesson, and after the lesson. Like I said, very, very important. Look at things you do before the lesson, review the previous lesson, prepare your objective, organize your materials, make everything interesting for the child, and then confirm the technology you're going to use. Then during the classes, deliver excellently well. And after the class, update the parents and the rest of them. All right. So let me go back to the case study now. So you look at what happened. So this was what we received from a parent yesterday morning. All right. She was complaining bitterly of what happened after seeing the child who couldn't. I hope you can see my screen. So good morning. Last lesson was I'm doing that for those that joined late. Was a week ago. Just you can read through. Right. So this was the complaint she had. My camera being off, not receiving reports, my commitment. She questioned a lot of things. Two good. Look at it. One very big. How many paragraphs? One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs, just to explain how bad she felt because we were very busy and then we couldn't do what we ought to do. All right. Something that we already promised. And funny enough, someone referred her. So she was disappointed because probably when the person referred her, there was some things the person told her. But then on coming, she was disappointed. All right. So, and I said something. Why it happened is because we didn't pay attention again to our values and the skills I've highlighted because we got so busy. And I think it was a very good case study that we can use for anybody that wants to be an online teacher. So you can see the kind of expectation and the kind of things the parents want from you. So eventually, if you start working for a company tomorrow and they're on your neck, telling you to do this, do this, do this is the reason why they are trying to do that. They don't want to punish you. If they are pushing you, update your assignments, publish this. Yeah, these guys are disturbing. How much are they paying me? No, they are doing that because they want to avoid these kind of things from happening. All right. And then let's go back to the assessment roadmap. We have 5 ladder. The first one was your interpersonal emotional skills. We have organization and objective skills. We have your professional qualities. We have effective lesson delivery. We have designing the learning for every learner. So for here, we spoke about empathy, communication. We spoke about relationship building, and active listening. For here, we spoke about you recording your class, your tracking your topics and your lesson. We also highlighted that you should be able to monitor your progress. These are the things we learned under the organizational and administrative skills. Then for professional qualities, we said be authentic. Don't try to copy anybody. Just be yourself. All right, be authentic. You also have to be emotionally intelligent in terms of knowing what the challenges are for the students. These are some of the professional qualities that we spoke about. Then for effective lesson delivery, we spoke about the lesson order. What would the slide look like? The formative assessment, the what's the other one again? Summative assessment. These are some of the things we learned. Then for the last one, which was designing learning for every learner, we said that we have different kinds of learners. We have those that are visual learners, people that like to do by hand, people that listen to audios, different people with different abilities. So we said you have 4 things you can do. That's your DI, your differentiated instruction. The first one is your content. Second one is your process. The third one is your project or your product or your project. Then the last one is the learning environment. So we said these are key things you have to pay attention to when preparing for a lesson for a child. And then still under this learning for every learner, we also said something about innovative instructions, the ways you can actually go through to achieve those 4 things: the process, the content, the process, the project, and the learning environment. What are those things I said? I said you could use your flipped classroom model. I like that one so much. You could use your chunking. You could actually use your PBL, project-based learning. You can use inquiry-based learning. All right. So these are different. You can also use games. That's gamification for them to understand what you are teaching them. So these are different things that we looked at today. And I hope that every one of us that we had a good time in the session today and that you have something um, to look on. The video will always be here on our channel, so you can actually go through them and learn from them. Okay, so I'm just trying to go through quickly: empathy, communication, active listening, emotional intelligence, relationship building. That's for the first one. The next one: lesson and topic tracking, student progress and monitoring, the assignments, the time management, like I said, your before and after the classroom, what you're going to do. Then the next one is um professional qualities, authenticity. I'm just trying to do a recap of things you need to always remember. So I'm going through, and then finally your lessons, life flow, formative assessments, and the rest of them. All right. So do you have any question? I'll be glad to take your questions at this point. I've been talking and talking and talking, and I think it's time to it's time to hear from us, guys. Thank you so much for joining the session. By our next section, um, I said good intentions are not enough. That's what I want you to go home with today. Intentions are not enough. The students experience our systems. Great educators do not simply know their subjects; they know their students. You have the same destination, but you're going to different words journey. All right. So every learner deserves to be seen, understood, challenged, supported, and given the opportunity to what to succeed. Thank you so much. In our next session, we're looking at the tools. What are those tools that will help us achieve all of these things I've mentioned, from the innovative instruction to the DI? So thank you so much. It's an amazing time with us this evening, and I think I've said a lot of things. So just do well to go back to the channel and calm down and absorb them once again. Do you have any question? Any question from anybody? Oh, I have very, very powerful people in the house. So thank you so much for joining today's session. We are glad to have you. Do well to always recap on the channel. And I wish us an amazing week. I pray that the Lord will strengthen us even as we continue the talking work and as we keep impacting students um, in our environment and wherever we find ourselves. So remember, at every point in time, you learn with purpose and then you live with impact. That's our watchword at Sismo: learning with purpose and living with impact. Thank you so much. Mr. Hiller, I think you can end the recording now. Thank you, everyone. Nobody get question, Abby. We are good. We are good, Abby.